Hello there. Ever wondered how to dynamically change the security restrictions on an iframe? Today, we'll explore how to remove the sandbox attribute from an iframe using JavaScript. This can be useful if you initially want to restrict an iframe's capabilities but later need to grant it more permissions. Remember that removing the sandbox attribute can have security implications, so proceed with caution and only do it when you fully understand the risks. First, let's understand why iframes use the sandbox attribute. The sandbox attribute is a powerful security feature. It restricts the actions an iframe can perform. It prevents the iframe from executing scripts, accessing cookies, submitting forms, or accessing the parent window's content without permission. This is important for embedding content from untrusted sources. But what if you trust the content and need the iframe to do more? That's where removing the sandbox attribute comes in. Here's how to do it with JavaScript. First, you need to select the iframe element. You can use document.getElementById if you know the iframe's ID. For example, let myIframe equals document.getElementById, myIframe. Alternatively, you can use document.querySelector, iframe, to select the first iframe on the page, or document.querySelectorAll, iframe, to select all iframes, returning a node list. If you use querySelectorAll, you'll need to loop through the node list to modify each iframe individually. Once you have selected the iframe, you can remove the sandbox attribute. You can achieve this using the removeAttribute method. Simply call myIframe.removeAttribute, sandbox. This line of code will remove the sandbox attribute entirely. Now, the iframe will have the full permissions allowed by its origin. If you want to remove specific sandbox restrictions and keep others, you can modify the sandbox attribute value instead of removing it completely. For example, if the iframe has sandbox equals allow scripts allow same origin, and you want to allow forms, you can use myIframe.sandbox equals allow scripts allow same origin allow forms. However, for completely removing it, removeAttribute is the right approach. It is crucial to remember the security implications. Removing the sandbox attribute gives the iframe complete control within its origin. If the iframe contains malicious code, it could compromise your entire page. Therefore, carefully evaluate the content you're embedding and ensure you trust the source before removing the sandbox attribute. Also, always test your code thoroughly in a safe environment before deploying it to a live website. Consider using Content Security Policy, CSP, headers to further enhance your website's security. CSP allows you to control the resources that the browser is allowed to load, reducing the risk of cross-site scripting, XSS, attacks. I hope this tutorial helped you understand how to remove the sandbox attribute from an iframe using JavaScript. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. Your support helps me create more content like this. Also, feel free to leave any questions or suggestions in the comments below. I always appreciate your feedback. Consider sharing this video with your friends and colleagues who might find it useful. Every little bit helps.